This is KGW News at Sunrise.
The timeline for counting approximately 60,000 ballots with blurry barcodes in Clackamas County has been pushed back. In the meantime, we're taking a look into the county clerk's history of problems.
Also this morning, in a segment that promises to not disappoint, Devin Haskins takes us to the Washington coast to find out how Cape Disappointment got its name. It's a new edition of What's in a Name coming up here at 5:15.
You guys, KGW Carpool is back.
Yo.
Woo, it's been a while. Along for the ride this morning, TEDx speaker Viva Las Vegas. She's a stripper, a mom, an author, cancer survivor, and singer.
My current band is called Bergerette, and we're a vocal trio. We sing medieval and Renaissance sex pop. Longtemps sammen courtesy sin bien amer, conquistar s'amours.
Oh yeah, did I mention she also speaks French? I asked her what she plans to say on the TEDx stage this weekend, and her answer, it was a mic drop. That's coming your way at 5:45 this morning.
Oh, Portland. So Portland,
Yes.
right? Good morning to you on a Tuesday. Beautiful weather yesterday. And what do we have on tap today?
Not a bad day. We're not going to have the sun, but we think overall it will be dry. Here are the clouds, and these will be thickening up in the coming hours. They're pretty solid right now, actually. 52 is the early morning number at the airport. So it is one of those days where the cloud deck gets thick enough that I have to tell you it's at least possible there will be a light shower at some point or some traces of rain. But as I mentioned, overall, we're expecting it to simply be overcast. 50 out the door, 60 at noon, about 66 degrees today when the kids get out of school. That's your forecast.
Rod, thank you. We start this morning with an election update because we now know who will face Portland City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty in a runoff election. So Administrative Judge Vadim Mazursky conceded the race. He accepted a third-place finish. That means Portland voters will choose between Hardesty and businessman Rene Gonzalez in November.
Well, the ballot count in Clackamas County will continue today. Yesterday, we saw Sherry Hall, the county clerk there, not wanting to do any more interviews, actually hiding her face from cameras at one point behind that sheet of paper. So there are tens of thousands of faulty ballots in the county, thanks to a printing error. We talked about this all last week. The county is now duplicating those ballots by hand, then counting them. And we were supposed to get a timeline yesterday for when the count would be finished, but we're still waiting for that timeline.
So far, the county has processed just under 60,000 ballots of the more than 113,000 that they've gotten back. But it's still unclear how many are affected by that blurry barcode. So while we wait, Pat Doris found out on the story, Hall has a history of problems.
Sherry Hall is a Republican and was elected to the nonpartisan county clerk position back in 2002. She's been re-elected 4 times since then and is up for re-election again this fall. The primary isn't the first time Hall has found herself in the headlines. In 2004, Hall learned about an error in hundreds of ballots and did not tell the public about it. Then in 2010, another major printing error. She had to send corrected information to voters because the voters' pamphlets were wrong that time. And she also mistakenly put 2 races on the May ballot that were supposed to go on the November ballot. The next year, she accepted signatures that were invalid to place an urban renewal initiative on the ballot. And the year after that, in 2012, a part-time county elections worker was accused of tampering with 2 ballots to cast additional votes for Republicans. The worker ended up pleading guilty. Hall was not implicated. In 2018, Hall made headlines again for sending out voter information with her own name prominently displayed all over it, while she was again running for re-election. Now, that's not illegal to do in Oregon. That as the elections clerk, you can do that. But it is illegal in other states, and several voters filed complaints. Throughout the past week, we've heard from a lot of you in Clackamas County saying it is time for Sherry Hall to resign. And the Oregonian over the weekend agreed, publishing an editorial calling for her resignation. So what do you think? You can send me an email at thestory@kgw.com or leave a message at 503-226-5090 and share your opinion.
Today, closing arguments continue in the murder trial of Nancy Crampton Brophy. The romance novelist is accused of shooting her husband, Dan Brophy, back in 2018. In court yesterday, prosecutors focused on the couple's financial struggles as a motive for murder. The deputy DA also pointed to surveillance video the morning of the murder showing Nancy's van driving by the Oregon Culinary Institute, the scene of the crime. She claimed she was at home writing that day.
The person who went in there also was not just lucky. A random attack that just happened to be at the exact same time that Nancy Brophy was at the Culinary Institute. The exact same time and using the exact same weapon, same make and model and caliber that Nancy Brophy happened to own.
Under oath, Nancy admitted driving by the crime scene but denied killing her husband. The defense has been maintaining all along that the Brophies were so in love, Nancy couldn't have committed this crime.
The bottom line is that Nancy Brophy was far better off, far better off with Dan Brophy in her life. Even if you look at it just in pure economic terms, even if you ignore the love, even if you ignore all of those intangibles that couldn't go into that calculation, she was better off with Dan alive.
Today, the state will have the chance to make its final rebuttal before the jury begins deliberating. We'll let you know what happens both on air and online at KGW.com.
All right, now to an awful story out of Southeast Portland. Portland police are investigating a gruesome assault that happened around 7:30 yesterday morning. Officers found a woman in the parking lot of the Eco Car Wash on Southeast 82nd and Holgate. She was badly injured. Medics rushed her to the hospital. She's in critical condition this morning. Investigators haven't released any information on a suspect, but we did talk to people who live near that car wash in Southeast Portland.
It hit me hard. I felt really bad, you know, and I just couldn't believe it. I just thought it was a little too close, you know. I just can't believe anybody would do that to a woman.
Anyone with information about this assault is asked to call Portland Police.
Let's get you caught up on some other headlines we're following this morning. A former FedEx delivery driver has been sentenced to more than 8 years in prison for exposing himself to children. We first told you about Alejandro Negrete when he was arrested last July in Aloha. He was accused of offering a 9-year-old girl candy while she was sitting on her front steps, then exposed himself. Negrete later admitted to sexually abusing other children in the area while on the job. He pleaded guilty in court. Take a look at this video from Southern Oregon. An apartment fire in Medford happened at the Village apartment Saturday. Neighbors say they heard people yelling for help. They jumped into action. Altogether, they rescued 4 people, including kids. One person went to the hospital to be treated for burns. Crews say the fire damaged at least 3 units. No word on a cause. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley has tested positive for COVID. His office confirmed Merkley is experiencing mild symptoms and is isolating at home. The senator is both fully vaccinated and boosted. And those are some of your morning headlines.
Well, starting today, you will need to buy a time ticket if you're driving on the historic Columbia River Highway through the famous Waterfall Corridor. That's between Vista House and Ainsworth State Park. It gets really crowded, especially during the summer, so to manage that, drivers will need a permit now through Labor Day. They cost $2 per car. Sightseers going by bus or bike will not need to buy a permit. If you'd like more information, be sure to check out our story on our website, KGW.com.
1 week from tomorrow, it is the start of June, June 1st, and Rod and I have talked about this before. We should really just start summer on June 1st. All of June, all of July, all of August.
Make it
should be
so.
Summer.
Yeah.
Well, what Drew's referring to is what we call the meteorological calendar. And the meteorological calendar goes June, July, August, and fall, September, October, November.
Right.
And then winter is December, January, February.
That makes more sense.
I do think the goofiest thing ever is you wake up on December 20th, and let's say it's really cold and snowing. It's still fall, which is just nuttier than nuts to me. Here's a look at the satellite picture. We've got clouds streaming in right now. They are thickening up in some spots, but not others. Radar's picking up the thicker cloud cover where you see what looks to be rain, but I think in essence that's just thicker cloud cover coming in. So if you have early morning sun, you'll lose it and will cloud over. Here's a look at the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha. The clouds are a little bit thinner out here. The brightness of the camera is a reminder that we're only about 20 minutes away from sunup. Sunup at 5:30 sharp this morning. It was fairly clear much of the night and temperatures did fall off. It's 41. 51 out in Lowell right now, so that's chilly. PDX along the Columbia, a little bit warmer at 52. It's cloudier there. 53 out in the Dalles. We have some 30s and Burns and 39 degrees on the map out in Bend. You folks east of the Cascades, a beautiful day. Most of you, including Central Oregon, will be up into the 70s today. All right, here is the valley forecast. Even with the cloud cover, not bad. Salem could still get up to 70. Thickening cloud cover in the coming hours, and perhaps later today there could be some traces of rain showers around just from the depth of the cloud deck that we're tracking. Winds will be light. This shows Longview 64 and Battleground Vancouver 67, 68 degrees. Here's your 7-day forecast. So today a downward trend, including the chance of a trace of moisture, but overall dry. Tomorrow, 77. If we make it, it would be by 1 degree, the warmest of the year so far. Still tracking a front Thursday evening, so that's rain picking up Thursday afternoon. Could be a 1/4 inch. Showers Friday. The rainiest day of the bunch is the second front that comes in on Saturday. That's followed by one of those cold, active hail shower days on Sunday. It is possible that Memorial Day itself on Monday will be dry, but I'm not willing to cancel the shower chance yet. 66 degrees expected on Monday, and that's your forecast, Mr. Carney.
All right, Mr. Hill, more from Rod coming up in a few minutes. Right now, though, we want to tell you about one of Portland's busiest and most dangerous streets is getting a facelift. We're talking about Southeast Division, just east of 82nd. So the goal of this work is to make the road safer, because this has been one of Portland's deadliest areas for drivers and pedestrians for at least 15 years. PBOT has already installed pedestrian crossing beacons, better street lighting, and a center median there, but not everyone is satisfied with these improvements. Some people we talked to say the changes have actually made certain parts of the road even more difficult to navigate.
They've cobbled up the intersection. I mean, you can't get out here to go east on Division, and you can't make a U-turn up there because all the concrete they've got set up.
Well, we also talked to PBOT. They say that design was done on purpose.
We're bringing order to the street by making it clear where you can turn left, where you can make a U-turn, and where you cannot, where you're going to have to maybe go right for a block and then turn left and potentially make a U-turn to get to your destination.
This much we know for sure. It's a $13 million project. It includes installing fixed speed safety cameras there on Division, and there are also plans to add more of those cameras to other high crash areas like Sandy Boulevard and Columbia Boulevard.
Have you heard of Cape Disappointment? If you haven't, you might be disappointed when we tell you the newest edition of What's in a Name after the break.